we have a warrant for you.
For what?
Not paying your trash bill.
What?
Yes, ma'am.
Right now you're being placed under arrest for operating while intoxicated, okay?
I'm not intoxicated. Sir, I'm not intoxicated. I blew zero.
We all make mistakes, right? We're human. But when police officers arrest someone that maybe they shouldn't have or needed to, things can get really messy. We're going to get legal insight on 5 people who probably should never have gone into handcuffs. Welcome to a special crossover Morgan & Morgan and Law&Crime episode of Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. So, wrongful arrests. They certainly happen. They happen, unfortunately, a lot. But depending on the situation, it can lead to some pretty serious civil liability for the law enforcement agencies, for the officers. So, to talk about this today, I have a special guest with me. I am joined on this special edition of Sidebar and Morgan & Morgan with, of course, Dan Morgan, managing partner for powerhouse law firm Morgan & Morgan. Dan, good to see you. Thanks so much for coming on.
Good to see you again. I'm happy to be here.
Happy to have you here. So talk to me about, it's pretty egregious when you see wrongful arrests. Have you dealt with that in your career?
We have, yes. So Morgan & Morgan, we do handle wrongful arrests, police brutality, those types of cases. So they do unfortunately happen in all 50 states.
Well, I don't think we're going to go to all 50, but we are going to go to a few here. So I want to start right now in Valley, Alabama. This is back in 2022, right before Christmas. So 2 police officers, they show up to the home of, listen to this, 82-year-old Martha Menefield, because allegedly she hadn't paid her trash bill.
You Martha Menefield?
I am.
Miss Menefield, we have a warrant for you.
For what?
Not paying your trash bill.
What?
Yes, ma'am.
No, you don't.
I'm not joking.
So you're gonna handcuff me and take me to jail?
Yes, ma'am. I got you.
What did I miss?
I'm so serious. It's a warrant. Failure to pay solid waste, and here's all your information. That's how I knew where your address was when it come. You sure you got a phone call from the code enforcement about a month ago saying, hey, you need to come pay your trash bill.
The reason I'm not saying anything because my daughter takes care of that for me.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
Okay, well, she has not been doing it. And you got to go with me today. Anything you need to grab right quick, you can. And
I can't believe it.
we'll be going on down the way.
So what would I have to pay?
It'll be $285 to get out at the PD. If not, I have to take it to the county jail.
Oh, Lord. Would you just take one?
Yeah, I'm going to put you in these right quick, okay? They're going to be in the front.
Oh, wait.
I got you, okay?
Don't look at me shaving yourself. Arresting an 82-year-old.
I am so sorry, but the law is the law, Miss Man.
So there was some backlash when news of this arrest started to spread. So Valley Police Chief Mike Reynolds put out this statement on social media. City of Valley code enforcement officers issued Ms. Menefield a citation in August of 2022 for non-payment for trash services for the months of June, July, and August. Prior to issuing the citation, code enforcement tried to call Ms. Menefield several times and attempted to contact her in person at her residence. When contact could not be made, a door hanger was left at her residence. The hanger contained information on the reason for the visit and a name and contact phone number for her to call. The citation advised Ms. Menefield that she was to appear in court on September 7, 2022 in reference to this case. A warrant for failure to pay trash was issued when she did not appear in court. I mean, Dan, I get officers have a job to do, but, to go after her for this, could she sue? Or generally speaking, could she sue, or do police officers have what's called qualified immunity? Talk to us about that.
Exactly. So unfortunately, in this situation, depending on how the law in Alabama is structured, there are repercussions for things like this. Now, there is qualified immunity where a police officer, if he's in an official capacity, they're allowed to kind of do these types of things without the lady coming back to sue him. In this instance, obviously, they made some warnings. Now, does the crime meet the punishment in the court of public opinion? I don't think so. I think that's why there's so much backlash on social media when you hear a lady's going to jail for not paying her trash. Don't police officers have better things to do and more crimes to solve than dealing with that? But unfortunately, it could be a strict liability thing where if you don't show up in court, well, now you do have a warrant. And then you could go to jail for a failure to appear. So it seems like this is kind of a thing that snowballed and got out of control, where it started as a petty ticket, but it didn't get addressed in a timely manner, and then it snowballed and snowballed and snowballed, and then the cops said, go arrest her. Yeah, I mean, optically,
2 years old.
Optically, not a good look for that police department. I think I remember this one in the news myself too, and I believe eventually they kind of came in and wiped it out.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. Houston rapper Trey the Truth, he saw the news, came to her home, worked with a furniture company to furnish her home, put in $15,000 worth of new items. How great is that?
Exactly. I remember I saw this story in the news and it had somewhat of a happy ending. I'm very happy to announce it now.
Hey there, everybody. So I want to thank Morgan & Morgan for sponsoring this episode of Sidebar. Always love talking about them. Now, here is the incredible thing about Morgan & Morgan, and one of the reasons why I like talking about them so much.
Hey, say something about our big wins.
You're not supposed to come on camera. The reason Morgan & Morgan, America's largest personal injury law firm, is so big, and I'm sure you can guess it, is because they win a lot. And that's
Don't forget huge verdicts.
Yeah, they've won big verdicts, $6.8 million in New York, $26 million in Philadelphia. You see, the thing about them is they don't settle for lowball insurance offers from insurance companies, which is something.
Mention that you can submit a claim from your couch at home and on your phone.
Dan, they've completely modernized the process by submitting your claim, talking to your legal team. It's all done straight from your smartphone. Again, that's something
with
that
8 clicks or less.
8 clicks or less. Yes. You can see if you have a case in just a few minutes.
1,000 lawyers. We have over 1,000 lawyers.
All right. You know what, Dan? If you really think you can do better, maybe you should just do it yourself.
What Jesse was getting at is if you've ever been injured in an accident, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. You can submit a claim in 8 clicks or less. To start your claim, just visit forthepeople.com/LC sidebar.
You came a little too close to me. It hurt me a little bit. I'm probably actually going to have to hire you guys now, but that was well said. That was well said.
Well, let's move on to another one, because this is really where I want your take on this one, Dan. So an Iowa man filed a lawsuit against his hometown after he was arrested for operating while intoxicated. And this was despite apparently being completely sober. This happened in August of 2022. So 19-year-old Taven Galanakis was a freshman at William Penn University. He was a wide receiver on the football team, but when he was arrested, he was an hour north of Newton, Iowa. And he says one of his headlights was out, so he was using the brights when he could, and that's when he got pulled over.
Hi there. How you doing, sir? Good, how are you? My name's Officer Winters with the Newton Police Department. The reason I pulled you over is because you have your bright lights on.
Yeah, I have a headlight out, so I just keep my brights on.
Okay, well that's not legal.
Oh, it isn't?
No.
Yeah, I turn them when a car comes by, I turn them off, but like.
Well, you didn't with me.
Oh, you weren't close enough though.
It has to be within 500 feet.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
And you're not supposed to have your brights on in the city limits.
My fault.
You got your license, registration, insurance with you?
Yeah, I got you.
So once Galanakis gives the officer all of his information, he's told then to get out of the car.
I'm gonna have you hop out with me, okay?
Cool. Car on or off?
You could probably leave the car off. Do me a favor, put your gum on your dash there.
Put my gum on my dash?
Yeah. Perfect. We're gonna go back here, okay?
Cool.
You don't have anything on you? No bombs, guns, drugs?
No bombs or no drugs.
Okay. How much have you had to drink tonight?
None.
What do you mean none?
I've had nothing to drink.
Okay. Why would your eyes be watery and bloodshot?
You want to blow me real quick?
I don't want to blow you.
Not even going to get into that. Now, Galanakis does ask again and again to take a breathalyzer test.
Come on, man, it's too easy. Let's do the breath now. You 2 for 2. And make sure. Blow me too, man. Give me a little blow.
I will.
Blow zeros.
I will here in a minute.
Let's blow real quick. Stop doing all these damn tests. Let's blow. Let's get to business.
So the officer still has Galanakis do these field sobriety tests and says that he wasn't following directions.
How do I turn?
Take a series of small steps. Stops walking 13 steps. Improper turn. How many steps did I say to take?
Like 8 or 9?
I said 9. Why'd you take 14 and then 15?
I thought you were going to tell me when to turn.
I said to count your steps out loud.
Is that 6 inches to you?
Yep. You're showing some very strong signs of impairment.
Am I?
Dan, before I move on, anything stand out to you about this? Anything bothering you?
So far, no. I mean, it seems, you know, he might have been a little, you know, somewhat abrupt or rude to the officer a little bit, you know, but for the most part, I think it's pretty routine. He's following out orders. He's doing what he's supposed to do, and he seems pretty coherent. You know, I'm not hearing slurring or bloodshot eyes or that stuff.
Okay, well, the officer finally lets Gallinakis do the breathalyzer test. Let's see what happens.
All right, what I want you to do is make a tight seal around this and blow outwards like you're blowing up a balloon, okay?
Cool.
All right.
You ready?
Yep. Okay, you can relax. So I'm going to read you Miranda, okay? Right now you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
Okay, so to be clear about this, the police officer doesn't tell Gallinakis that he blew zeros for his blood alcohol content, but we can see it on the body cam video. And from there, he wants to know the last time that Gallinakis smoked weed.
When's the last time we smoked weed?
I do not remember that.
Tonight?
No.
Okay, well I think it's tonight.
I've had no weed tonight. What? Why do you think it's tonight? Why do you think I smoke? I blew zeros, so now you're trying to think I smoke weed. That's what's going on. You can't do that, man. You really can't do that.
Absolutely I can.
Is he allowed to do that?
Yes, he is.
So I blow zeros and you suspect drugs now. That's what we on? I blow zeros, so you think I'm on drugs. That's ridiculous.
I would. During my field sobriety, it is indicative of impairment. So let's be honest.
I'm being honest.
You smoked some weed at your friend's house?
No.
You hit a pin?
Nope.
Why's your field sobriety so poor?
What?
Why is your field sobriety so poor? And why are you so lethargic and slow moving and speaking with a slurred speech? And your eyes are watery and your eyes are bloodshot.
You know why they're watery? Right, because we're in rain right now.
Okay, so Gallinakis tells the officer that he can't smoke marijuana because he'd be kicked off the football team, but the officer is still skeptical, so he arrests him.
Turn around, put your hands behind your back. Right now you're being placed under arrest for operating while intoxicated, okay?
I'm not intoxicated. Sir, I'm not intoxicated. I blew zero.
Now here's the thing. What's called a drug recognition expert later determined Gallinakis was not intoxicated, so he files a lawsuit against the city of Newton, Iowa, the chief of police, 2 other Newton officers, the officer who arrested Gallinakis, Nathan Winters, and a lieutenant who was also there, Christopher Wing, and a judge ruled the suit could proceed to trial. The city and police have appealed that decision, and both sides have submitted briefs. And in fact, Gallinakis' legal team said in their brief, as shown by the body cam video, Taven's errors during field testing were not due to intoxication, but rather to Taven and Officer Winters' conflicting pettiness. When Taven's preliminary breath test returned a 0.00 blood alcohol, Officer Winters accused him of using marijuana, again with no basis, and arrested him as Lieutenant Wing stood silent. The district court found that a reasonable juror could conclude Officer Winters and Lieutenant Wing violated both the Fourth Amendment and Iowa law on false arrest for arresting Taven without probable cause. Denial of summary judgment must be affirmed. And in its own brief, the city and police department's legal counsel writes, in light of the existing precedents at the time, a reasonable officer easily could have believed there was a fair probability or substantial chance and therefore probable cause that plaintiff appellee Taven Gallinakis operated his vehicle while intoxicated. Now, according to the latest court filings, oral arguments were given, but the court has not yet made a ruling. Dan, after all that, I'm going to turn it to you. Who's right here?
Who do I side with?
Yeah.
I'm siding with Galifianakis.
Yeah,
I'm siding with the receiver.
Yeah.
You know, again, it goes back to the qualified immunity. I'm sure that's what the defense or the cops' attorneys in this case are probably hammering down. He thought, you know, he was doing what he thought he was tearing out his duty as a police officer, but you need to have that probable cause. You know, if there was, end of a marijuana cigarette in the car, or I know he referenced having a weed pen in as well, the officer, if he found that in the car, then game on. But when you're passing every test, you're walking 6 inches, you're blowing zeros, and the cop's like, well, now let's turn to weed. You know, that was at the very tail end of it. So I don't think it lines up if a jury gets this case, what I know the police officers probably don't want to happen, because I think as we're sitting here, as we're signing with him, they probably would do the same. Because then it just gives cops kind of the blanket ability to say, well, I think you're high, so I'm going to arrest you now too for driving. How do you start testing that? Now they do have different tests that are out there to kind of gauge that, as far as blood tests and things of that nature as well. But just from what I saw in that video right there, I mean, that's kind of what we're trying to protect to not happen, is those cops kind of harassing and then escalating and then end up even arresting people just because they think that the person's doing something wrong with no actual proof that they are.
And I think he realizes that there was a mistake made. He shouldn't have been arrested, but at the same time, that body cam video could be problematic for Gallinakis. You know, basically giving a little bit of attitude. They talked about pettiness there and there. I just wonder, is this going to settle?
I mean, I don't, you know, it kind of goes both ways, because you got to, you know, for a settlement, there has to be the money being offered. I'm not sure if the office is going to offer the money, and if they do, is it an amount that Gallinakis is going to want to accept, or if he's going to say, no, I want this to go all the way. I want, you know, to ask for, you know, 6, 7 zeros and see what the jury does. But yeah, I think this one most likely would probably go to a court, to a jury. But I think if they got serious about the settlement, you're a college receiver, you might go ahead and take the money and be done with it.
I just think it's so interesting. All of it's captured on body cam. That's why we have body cam.
Exactly.
So it can all be documented. All right, let's go now to Dallas, Texas. So there was confusion over apparently a man's name, and this led to a violent encounter with police. So this is disturbing stuff here. So the body cam video that you're seeing is from October 2021. Sylvester Hayes says that he was on his way to get breakfast with his 4 children when Dallas police officers pulled him over. And what happens is they mistake him for a different person, a suspect with a similar name that had a domestic violence warrant out for his arrest.
Okay, well, what's your information? That's all. Damn, I'm finna go get some of my baby something to eat. Okay, hey, if you're good, sir, you're good. I'll be right back.
So the officers want Hayes to get out of the car, but he's insistent he's done nothing wrong. So as the officers forcibly remove him, they notice a gun, which was later determined to be legal and registered to Hayes, and which, according to Hayes, he told the officers about.
Come on, step up on me. I'll explain it to you.
I didn't give you permission to do that.
I know. Step out. I'll explain everything.
No, sir. Tell me why.
I'll explain everything.
No, I didn't give you permission. I didn't give you permission to open none of it.
Right now, you are being detained. Come on and step out.
Hey, yeah, guys, sorry.
Come on and step out. Come on.
Let me call my people. Come on.
Come on and step out, bro. Come on and step out. You're gonna get tased. Come on and step out.
Pulling out a tape?
Come on and step out, bro. Come on and step out.
Bro,
come on and step out. Come on and step out.
Bro.
Step out.
What are y'all? Man, hold on, bro.
Come on and step out.
Come on,
Come on and step out. Come on and step out.
what are y'all?
Come on and step
y'all
out.
pulling on me for what? Come on, hold on. Y'all, I didn't give y'all permission to do that. Bro, boom, bro, hold on. Bro, hold on. Hey, bro, come get. Bro, this is my gun. Bro, this is my, bro, my, bro.
Stop resisting. Stop.
All right.
Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Stop.
On my neck. You got some foot on my neck. Bro. I got some foot on my neck, bro. What the I'm doing, bro?
You gotta get.
Stop.
Bro.
Stop.
What happened, bro?
Right?
What am I being detained for, man?
Stop.
What am I being detained for?
If you let us tell you, we'll tell you. Shut
Tell
up.
me right now. What am I being detained for, man? Y'all don't even know y'all right now, bro. Bro, what are y'all, bro? Bro, help! Dude, you touching my body weight, man. Bro,
Stop.
oh, you a prisoner? I know I'm
Yes, ma'am.
because you're acting stupid.
Stop.
You hurting me, man.
You're the one acting
Right,
this way.
y'all.
You
Y'all
are
in
the one.
big trouble, bro. Y'all don't even understand. Y'all in big trouble.
All right. So before we go any further on this, look, even if he, Dan, was right that he was, the wrong guy and that he lawfully had a gun, should he not resist police? I mean, what are his rights if police, in his view, are unlawfully coming into his car and grabbing him?
Yeah, I mean, I actually mentor a bunch of youth kids in kind of crime areas around my hometown, and I kind of always tell them this is kind of right in the same vein where even if you know the officer's wrong, listen to him, do what he says, deal with that 15 or 20 minutes of embarrassment, and then we'll fix it later. Then we can actually have a better case to go after them. But when you're not listening to directions, you're not complying, you're forcefully getting angry and tell them they're effing up and you're gonna retaliate, you're not gonna win any friends over during that situation. It's best to explain to them, I think you have the wrong guy, all right, realize you're about to probably lose 30 minutes to an hour of your day to deal with this misidentity. But then once it's done, you might have some repercussions to actually go against them to get the compensation for taking that time away from you and putting you through that. But when you kind of exasperate the situation and you're refusing to get out and you had a gun in your car and you're rolling around, it's not going to look that good when a jury sees that footage of a wrongful arrest. So maybe it started off as a wrongful arrest, but then everything got justified.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And look, once Hayes was in the back of the squad car, he continues to yell that his arrest was unlawful. And one of the officers who arrived right around the time that this all started, he tries to talk to him, I should say, about this situation.
I came in late for everything.
And they handled me so rough, sir. I complied. I said, what am I being stuck for? I didn't give nobody no attitude or anything, sir. I got 4 kids that was waiting on me right now. They're hungry. I'm trying to go feed them, man.
Okay.
And that's it. I don't know. Like they say, I failed the signal at the stop sign.
The stop sign? Okay.
I mean, I was wrong for that. Yes.
So that was the reason for contact for the stop. Okay.
Yes, I understand that. And I was gonna tell him, like, what am I being detained for? I don't have any warrants. My name is, I have warrants maybe for speeding or something like that. But
what is your name?
Not for family violence or anything.
What is your name?
Sylvester Hayes.
Sylvester Hayes.
A name of a champion. And they doing this because they. But I don't know if it's because my skin and
it has nothing to do with the skin.
Look how they handled me, sir. I didn't do anything.
There was a gun, right?
But I wasn't pulling. I told him I had a weapon. I told him this.
Okay.
I told him this. This is my name.
Okay.
If they run it, it's going to say Sylvester Hayes.
Okay, Mr. Hayes. So, and I don't know all the story, but there is another Sylvester Hayes, right? So give me a second, right? And that Sylvester Hayes does have a warrant.
Then maybe that's. Okay. I'm the third, man.
Okay, so your last name is Hayes.
Hayes, Sylvester Hayes the third. SILVESTER.
Okay, and then your date of birth.
February 23rd, 1996.
Okay.
And I'm the third.
Wait a second. We can handle all this, but when guns or stuff like that are in play,
I didn't pull anything, sir.
No. I never said you did, right?
With everything, come on, man. With everything that's going on now, why would I pull the gun, man? I ain't trying to be another. Man, come on, man. I don't have to say it. Man. I'm fighting for my life, man. I got 4 babies at the house, man. What if something would have happened and they would have? Come on, man.
I understand.
For nothing, though.
So
for
here,
nothing. My car's up today. I'm paying on it. Like, I got a good job. I work security. Like, I'm trying to be one of y'all, but like, come on, man. This how y'all do. This how y'all do me. I'm working to be y'all, bro.
I didn't do anything.
My name is Sting, man. Besides speeding tickets, man.
Right. I understand. And like what I said, I do apologize. Like, if you feel like they roughed you up or whatever, I do apologize. But anytime that there's a gun involved and like traffic stop, I'm like, hey, so give us a second. We're gonna have these dudes check you out. Give me a second.
So what did it say about the gun, sir? When y'all ran the serial number, what did it say?
When I ran it and you saw me run it, it came back clear. It's not stolen.
None of that, right?
Right.
So damn, can I like? And they don't even know my aunties though. They in big trouble, man.
Why?
They in big trouble. They don't even know. Like, I look like this, but I got family that's behind me, man.
I understand.
I got family that's behind me. I'm a smart ass. I'm about it. I'm an intelligent black man, man.
I understand.
Come on, I just look like this, man.
Looks have nothing to do
But I'm
with
just
it,
saying
boss.
how they roughing me up, how they handle me like this, like I'm some. I didn't come at them disrespectful. I didn't like, hey.
Yeah, because we pulled up and everybody was fighting, and we just want to just end it right
Exactly, it was because of them. I didn't say anything, man. I was complying.
Okay.
If they had their radio on, I was complying, man. If they had their camera on, I was complying. Like, come on, man. Like this, they shouldn't even have to be all this, man.
I got you.
Are you the chief, or like what are you the?
Me?
Yeah.
So I'm part of this team. So this is all my team. Like all these dudes are my teammates.
Come on, man. You need a better team, man. You need a better team, man.
And that's why I'd rather talk to everybody. Good, right, wrong, indifferent.
I really appreciate you.
I'll talk to everybody.
You, man. At least you trying to, like they didn't even try to hear me, man.
Okay. No, I'm just putting my hand up here.
Huh?
I'm just putting my hand up here.
Oh, okay, man. I'm like,
so they'll check you out, and like what I said, let me figure out what's going on here, and I'll talk to you. Okay?
all right.
Give me a second.
So a sergeant arrives on scene and he speaks with the arresting officers.
So we were sitting at the church and we were just gonna start doing traffic. She's running plates.
Okay.
I'm like, hey, run that Hyundai. So she runs it and she was like, oh, let's look at the registered owner or whatever. So she does. She goes to AIS and that's a cross-reference and it pops up red. So she's like, okay. She kind of looks at it, but by that time we had already lost them. We had already gone into like the Family Dollar parking lot or whatever. The Family Dollar parking lot. So then, as she's searching, she finds out that the name that she put on there, whatever was on AIS, had continuous family violence, warrant. So then, we get behind him up here because we see the car moving on Illinois. So we catch up to it and we get up here to Southern Oaks. And he fails to signal within 100 feet from the stop sign here in Southern Oaks and Overton. And as soon as he came up here, we obviously pulled him over.
So you got the reason for contact?
Yeah. So I pulled up to the car and I'm like, hey man, look, you got pulled over for this, this, and this. And he was like, well, that's not fair because you were watching me from the other side. I was like, yeah, we were on the other side of the light. Well, you were crossing. So obviously, you know what I mean? Yeah. So then I was just like, you have your ID with you. And so he gives it to me. And obviously I handed it over to her and she's like, Sylvester Hayes, like that's the name that was under warrant. But
so you got a good warrant?
Well, there's I guess a lot of
He does have tickets.
He does have the tickets. So when I'm like, hey bro, so in order for us to be able to like fully investigate, like, because he was already acting weird, so I'm like, hey bro, like
He was already giving him trouble.
I'm like, can you just step out of the car for me? Like, let's go to the back of the car. And at that point, he was like, for what? For what? And I'm like, bro, come on, man. And so that's whenever Reggie pulled up, and we tried to get him out of the car, and the fight was on. Lester ended up being like the third or something like that. But as soon as I saw the Lester Hayes, I was like, okay, let's get him out while we investigate this.
Now, the sergeant did apologize to Hayes for, quote, roughing him up, but Hayes still went to jail for resisting arrest and unlawful possession of a weapon, which, again, was perfectly legal, and the charges were dismissed. So, Dan, before I even get into a lawsuit, is that apology good enough?
For me, probably not. For Sylvester Hayes III, I'd say definitely not.
Yeah.
I don't think that apology is going to be sufficient for, sorry, I roughed you up, I had the wrong guy. I don't think Sylvester or me in that situation would accept that apology. I think you need to be a little more forthcoming about, doing wrong and vowing it's not going to happen again, and you learned a lesson, except, I roughed them up and still take them to jail.
So 2 years later, in October of 2023, Hayes files this lawsuit against the Dallas Police Department and the two officers that were involved in that traffic stop. And he claimed that the officers used excessive force, unlawfully arrested him, violated his Fourth Amendment right, protection from unlawful search and seizure. Hayes, a single father who had been working as a security guard, when he didn't show up to work due to being in jail, he was fired. And he says the job loss eventually led to him losing his home too. Now, we got a hold of the lawsuit, which reads, rather than run a check on plaintiff Hayes' driver's license through the Dallas Police Department's database that was accessible from the computer in her Dallas Police Department cruiser, defendant Officer Harris erroneously informed defendant Officer Guab that plaintiff Hayes was wanted for a family violence warrant. Tragically, the person that defendant Officer Harris thought was plaintiff Hayes had a similar first name that was spelled Sylvester as opposed to plaintiff Hayes' first name, which is spelled as, and he does Silvester. So again, Sylvester with a Y instead of Sylvester with an I. Now, according to court records, Hayes' legal team asked for a summary judgment. They wanted this completely in their favor. They wanted the case to be done. Now, in response to the request for summary judgment, which says that there is no genuine issue of fact for a jury to even decide, this should be, immediately decided right now, the defendant's legal team said the officers had reasonable suspicion to believe plaintiff could be the subject of the active warrants, which provided them with a lawful basis to pull him over to investigate. Their decision to briefly detain plaintiff to determine if he was the subject identified in the domestic violence warrants was also reasonable. The subsequent revelation that plaintiff was not the Sylvester Hayes identified in the domestic violence warrants does not render the traffic stop or plaintiff's arrest unlawful, and plaintiff offers no case law holding otherwise. Well, this lawsuit is still making its way through the Northern District of Texas courts. So, Dan, what do you think about this? Who has the stronger argument right now?
I don't think Hayes' team has a strong argument for the summary judgment aspect of it. I think there are material facts that a jury could reasonably decide one way or another, so I don't think they're going to win on that summary judgment argument. But as a stronger overall argument, I think Hayes' team does have the stronger argument. As I mentioned, there's so many things they could have done to verify it wasn't him. I'm not even sure how they made the confusion of knowing that the Sylvester Hayes was wanted and seeing the name without doing those checks. And you could say they knew who the Sylvester Hayes was. Well, obviously it wasn't that same person. So there was obviously a break in the system, and then things escalated and got out of control extremely fast. Again, when the jury sees all the footage, what actually led to him being arrested, again, if he would have got out of the car, explained to him, no, my name's with a Y and an I, you guys have it all confused.
If he even knew that.
Exactly. But they would have been able to at least kind of peel back that onion and see what was going on, instead of he ended up going to jail because he was in a wrestling match on the ground with cops and a gun came out, and et cetera, et cetera. But if you had kind of been calm, said, no, you had the wrong guy, I don't think it would have happened. Now, which way is a jury going to go in Texas? I think they might, find the law enforcement side. They're more of a law and order state. Yeah. They're more of, once he reached for the gun, was holding on to his center console, making them drag him out of the car. I think that's maybe where he lost a jury.
Is it the idea that police are allowed to make a mistake as long as it was reasonable, as long as they had a reasonable suspicion?
Exactly.
Is that what the
reasonable suspicion, probable cause, if you, there's lots of stuff about the Fourth Amendment, the legal search and seizures, which is to really prevent things like this from happening, from being harassed by cops, from walking down Fifth Avenue and a cop saying, hey, Jesse, stop, I'm searching you down right now. And, why? No, because I think you might have something. Yeah. So it's trying to get rid of that, or seeing a car and pulling them over and saying, get out of the car, we're searching your car down. For what? Just because I think there might be something in here? No. Now, if you saw the gun in plain sight and said, whoa, what's going on here? Are you a felon? Then now we got probable cause. If you smelled, marijuana smoke or something, now you have the probable cause. If there's something going on, but just to point out a car, pull them over, even if it's like rolling a stop sign. They said Hayes did this instance. He admitted to that in the video. Yeah, I rolled the stop sign. I did wrong. But just to pull over for a stop sign and then say, get out of the car, we're detaining you, that doesn't reach the level either. There has to be kind of a next level to raise to that detainment. All
right, let's keep that in mind, because I want to go now to Wood Village, Oregon. This is near Portland, and it's March 2020. We all know what was going on around that time. So tensions were high as we were starting to learn more and more about the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. And tensions boiled over inside of a Walmart store when Michael Mangum, a black man, accused a white employee of following him around the store. So according to a lawsuit that Mangum filed after recording this video, loss prevention employee Joe Williams allegedly told Mangum if he didn't leave the store, he was going to call the police. And Williams said he would tell them Mangum hit him.
What did I say? What did I say to threaten you? What did I say? No, I didn't say anything to threaten you. You did. What did I say? What did I say?
If I keep watching you, you're going to slap the
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. And I'm going to go find this other couple here, and I'm going to ask them if I said that. I'm going to find this other couple here, and I'm asking if I said that.
I'm waiting for the police, and now he's recording me.
Yeah, I am recording you, because you're saying something that I didn't say.
So Williams called the non-emergency dispatch line, and a deputy responded.
So you telling me right now, so you telling me right now he's going to trespass me from this property for what reason?
Because he wants to.
Because he wants to?
Now, the deputies ended up detaining Mangum, but they didn't arrest him, citing the, quote, shifting stories that Williams was giving them. Now, Mangum filed a lawsuit against both Walmart and Joe Williams, and in it, his lawyers claim that when the employee called the non-emergency line, defendant Williams acknowledged to the dispatch operator that Mr. Mangum was not acting violently, did not seem drunk or high, and told the operator, "He just keeps checking me out." Williams told the operator that Mr. Mangum saw him walking by and started flipping out on me, so he asked Mr. Mangum to leave. Now, Dan, I want to talk generally about this. Do you see a lot of these kinds of alleged racial profiling lawsuits?
We get a fair amount of calls from either workplace environments or things like this, store being profiled, or even police officers if someone thinks they're being singled out. It's definitely kind of rampant right now in society. But actual cases that we take on that kind of reach that threshold, it's not as many in our practice area, especially when in this I'm not sure, it was obviously a big box store, but it is. Technically, you're not in a public place. It's a private place, so they can kind of do what they want to do. They can say, hey, get out of here, you're trespassing, you have to go. And you might not think it's fair, but you kind of have to do what they say. But yeah, I mean, we definitely see our fair share of people having a bad encounter and then calling us up and saying, I want to go after so-and-so store or so-and-so restaurant.
So let's talk about this. When Mangum filed his lawsuit, depositions were held, and that included with one of the store managers.
So what did the sheriff say?
He just basically said that that Joe had the tendency to exaggerate when he was making the calls to get law enforcement assistance, and that he just wanted to bring that to Kelly's attention.
Is that a serious matter or a trivial matter?
I would call that serious.
Now, the depositions also revealed that this wasn't the first time Williams had done something like this.
I got that from a couple of firsthand experiences where I was one of the deputies who showed up to a call, and then the vast majority of it came from deputies on my shift who had become extremely frustrated with a pattern of behavior that they had identified of Mr. Williams calling 911 to report dangerous active situations such as customers physically assaulting him or loss prevention employees or other Walmart employees while trying to steal. And then the deputies determining that that never actually happened.
Guess what happened? A jury ended up awarding Mangum $4.4 million, so $400,000 in non-economic damages and $4 million in punitive damages. What a verdict.
Wish I could take credit for that.
Yeah, right, I'm sure you do. Is that surprising to you, that number?
It was surprising, yeah. I didn't see it going that way. I could see, maybe an amount, without the punitives, I guess that was added on. But with the punitives, that comes because there's a pattern of behavior. There's either with that individual, but most likely with that store that they're in. So it's kind of to deter that from ever happening again. So it's telling that store, hey, you're on notice now. You're getting popped for this $4 million extra because of this pattern of behavior. You better stop it now, because if it happens again, it's going to be bigger the next time.
So Walmart put out a statement after the verdict saying Mr. Mangum was never stopped by Walmart's asset protection. He interfered with our associates as they were surveilling and then stopped confirmed shoplifters and then refused to leave despite being asked repeatedly by our staff and Multnomah County deputies. Interesting statement.
Again, I think with Williams, it's kind of back to the old story, the boy who cried wolf. He kept calling the cops, kept reporting, kept doing that. So when the jury sees that pattern, and you have actual police officers now kind of taking the side of Magnum instead of Walmart in this case, and saying, yeah, he's known to lie, he's known to do this, he's known to get us out there. You're going to piss off a jury, and they're going to give you a nuclear verdict like they did.
All right, I want one more for you. I want to wrap things up now in Albuquerque, New Mexico, back in January of this year. So police are on the lookout for a suspect when they spot Xavier Benitez on a bicycle. Turns out Benitez is not the man police are looking for, but because he tries to get away from police, they launch a search.
Police department, stop! Stop right there! Stop! No! Oh. What street is this? Come here.
He's in a flee northbound towards Central again. I'm pretty sure that's him too.
Hey, come here. Come here. Police department. You're detained. You're not free to leave. Come here.
You're not free to leave. Stop. Hey, brother, just stop, all right? You're detained. You're not free to leave. You need to stop. Just stop and talk to us then. You're detained. You're not free to leave. Just stop.
Well, after all that, one of the officers actually is finally able to catch up to Benitez.
I'm gonna use force. Just stop. Just stop. I'm gonna use force. Just stop. Just stop. I'm gonna hurt you. Get on the ground. Just lay down before I hurt you. Just stop. Just stop before I hurt you. You're not free to leave. Just stop before I hurt you. He's good. He's good. I didn't do nothing. All right, listen. Hey, listen. I'm Officer of the Albuquerque Police Department. You're not free to go. Hands behind your back. You're just detained right now. Why? We believe you're someone who has a warrant for their arrest. Can you look at my name right there? Yes, we will. Absolutely. Now cooperate. Let go. Let us put the handcuffs on you. There you go.
Okay, so as you see, more officers arrive on the scene. What do you think of the response? Is it adequate based on what they know at that time?
I mean, it's one of those situations of if he just would have stopped and listened and do what they said, it'd be a lot easier. But, you know, when you have a guy fleeing, it just kind of makes you alert more, like, obviously something's probably up now. You know, we may not know, but if the guy takes off running, the human nature is, all right, we got the right guy. Why else would he be running?
And they were like, please, you know, stop,
Oh, yeah.
stop.
I mean,
They kept telling him,
polite.
stop. Yeah, they were polite. I actually thought they were. But the officers, they start to figure out that Benitez isn't who they were originally on the lookout for, but he's getting arrested anyway.
Is E29 on
No.
here?
But he's on.
Yeah, we're 10-4. Just have a good change. I didn't have a shoulder.
He's on probation right now.
Okay.
I have misdemeanor charges from earlier, but I didn't even call probation because.
Well, that's twice today, 2-5 police. I think we should give him a call.
Yeah. Well, so his mom had called probation earlier, his PO, and they're like, call 34s.
We'll talk to him.
Okay.
We'll talk to him.
So apparently a supervisor reviews some of the body cam footage from his patrol car, gives the go-ahead for Benitez to be taken into custody, and he was on probation for a battery against a police officer case from 2022. So he ends up taking a plea deal in his latest case, agreed to the court's diversion program. You know, Dan, again, not the person they were looking for, but because he ran away, he got himself into more trouble.
Exactly. It snowballs on you quickly, and next thing you know, you run from one cop, now you run from 3 cops, and then you're getting tackled. But if he's already been arrested for hitting a cop, I mean, you know, you kind of got to learn your lesson eventually. So I think it was probably the right reaction to teach him again.
Yeah, and look, it could have ended much worse, but that's the way that one ended. And what a series of cases. Dan Morgan, good to see you. Thanks
Always
so
a
much.
pleasure.
Appreciate it. Dan Morgan from Morgan & Morgan. That is all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. As always, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll speak to you next time.